All right. A lot of people pretty excited about Civilization 7, myself included. That was the thing I was most looking forward to at Gamescom. We got quite a bit of information to drop. They had a 2 minute pre video there at opening night, and then they had like a 20-minute gameplay kind of walkthrough, talk about the game. After that live stream, at Twitch and on their YouTube page. And they also, said who the next narrator is, which is a big deal for, the Civ franchise because, I mean, people want to know who we're going to be listening to, right? Playing the game and who's narrated. It's been a pretty big deal. Who narrated Civ 6 and did it all the way through the expansions was Mr. Sean Bean, who was fantastic. Who's going to do Civ 7 is a lady named Gwendolyn Christie. Now, I do not know who that is, but hearing her voice, I was like, okay, I'm about it. Like, she sounded great. She sounded great narrating what we already heard. Different stuff that they already kind of showed off and stuff like that with her voice. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully, she's going to be the narrator all the way through all the expansions because that's the way Sean Bean did it with Civ 6. And I don't know if that's happened before in previous Civ games. Usually it's been like there's been a main narrator for the game, and then sometimes it's been like a different narrator for some of the expansions after the main game release. So yeah, looking forward to all that. But they showed off quite a bit. They showed off the big changes. There's going to be ages now, not eras, instead of like to mark major milestones throughout the timeline. And the ages is going to be kind of interesting, as that will be the one where you're kind of limited into the ages. So within that age, like you're playing the game within that age, and you can play the game up to the end of that age, or you can carry over to the next age. Now there's only going to be three: the antiquity, exploration, and industrialization, I believe, or modern. Modern was the third one. So that was kind of the way that kind of goes. And a lot of people have been asking, are we going to have rivers that we can kind of go up and down? And we finally will. We will have. I don't think they're going to go all the way. It didn't look like that, but they definitely showed off navigable rivers. That was kind of neat to see that. They will no longer be along the tile edges. They will actually go over the tile itself. So be curious to see how that impacts kind of the different gameplay stuff. The elevation was pretty cool that they showed off. I was very, very cool to see that. So one of the things I wasn't too thrilled to see was kind of the way you build out the city sprawl that they're kind of showing off here. And when you build a wonder in, I wasn't thrilled with the way the wonders looked in the game, because you already have this huge city sprawl that the wonders in the game seem like they blended in a lot more at the city. Like, there you go. So that was a picture, I think, of the hanging gardens, and that was like you barely even noticed them. So that's kind of the part of the game where I'm a little bit like, that I don't like the way the city sprawl looks. I get it. We haven't seen like everything. And typically the way that when they show off the game, it's really zoomed in. So yeah, you know what? Maybe it'll be okay, but even sometimes when they zoom out, it still looks like it's a lot of city sprawl, and it just takes away from the way the wonders looked in the map world in Civ 6. So yeah, that's about like one of the few things that I would say I wasn't too impressed with. But Civ 7, from what they showed off, looked pretty good. I like how they finally broke up leaders into civs. They're separated out. Awesome. You level up your leader. You can level up your civ as you move throughout history. As you move on to different ages, which was pretty neat, you can pick different civs, and they're gonna have civs more tied to the ages in which they were dominant, instead of having civs, giving civs certain bonuses that were when they were dominant. So you had a lot of civs, and typically the way it is you pick like an early game civ because you're able to build up so much faster than civs that are strong late game that it doesn't even matter, right? So it was pretty cool to see them kind of break that up. So you're gonna have some civs that are really only around in the beginning ages, middle ages, and then the end of the game. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool to see that. The combat, you're able to group armies together. You're going to have leaders that you can level up leaders. It's not too much indifferent from having great generals, I guess, from how you have it in Civ 6. So be curious to see kind of what the differences are there. But it was kind of nice to see that you can actually get formations together and move all your units together as one. We didn't see everything about building out districts and stuff like that. It seems like a lot of things that you're going to be building now are going to be outside the city center. So be curious to see what it takes to build up your city center. What's going to kind of go on there. So like they even showed off the granary, but the granary you put it like on a tile. So yeah, just going to be curious to see a little bit more of that. But as far as like a lot of the stuff they showed off looked pretty good. The verticality was very impressive. Resource exploration and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of that looked really cool, really neat. A lot of different choices to be making. That was one thing that I've kind of said that they need to kind of change is it's not good when you're England, when you pick England and then you wind up playing a land game, right? You want to, like, not saying you're landlocked, but you want to play more of a land game, and it's like most of your benefits are not benefiting you at all because you're England, right? Or at least that's how it is in Civ 6. So as the game changes, you're able to change your strategies without being locked in all the way through. So that was actually pretty cool to kind of see them show that off. The trading looked pretty neat. And yeah, other than that, I was actually kind of impressed. I like the verticality. I just don't like how that sprawl looks. Just don't like how that sprawl looks. The wonders don't stick out as much. You can obviously see them. They just don't stick out as much. That was kind of just my thing. I just didn't like how the city sprawl looked. So anyways, that's just my take. But other than that, it looked pretty good. I want to hear more about their content going forward though. And another thing, if you didn't know, if you're really hard into Civ, they did have out several content creators go out to their studio in Maryland, and they got to play the game for a few hours and record, and they were able to kind of share. I actually did watch Jumbo Pixels, his thoughts on the game and what he got to play around with. I think his video was like 20 minutes long or something like that. But anyways, it's kind of throwing him a shout out. But there were several other videos out there. I just didn't see them. Jumbo Pixel kind of just said, "Hey, this is what the game was about while I played." Like kind of just explaining things, not his take, like if he liked it or disliked it. So yeah, there's that. There's definitely some different things that they had to talk about and show off rather than just what was revealed in the 20-minute showcase that Civilization 7 had. So, and yeah, another thing with the ages was, so the ages, you will have, they will lock you into the technologies and civics you can research. You cannot go past that. Also, the resources that will be available to you. So be curious to see if all the resources that are relevant to the exploration age become visible as soon as you enter the exploration age. So yeah, not sure about that. Or if you gotta also then research the technology to see it, be curious. So they didn't talk anything about seeding or being able to move plants or agriculture around or animals or anything like that, which is something I would like to see because if it's taking up a spot that I don't really want it there, but I want to move it. It'd be great if we can move it. But they didn't have any of that, so. But as far as like what you're locked into age-wise, that was kind of one of the things that they did kind of talk about as far as, your tech, your civics, your different resources. You will only be able to see what you can see within that age. Obviously, once you unlock the next age, and you'll just get more stuff. The map world also expands as you go from the antiquity age to the exploration age, which is another thing that I thought that was great, because you can really kind of expand out early game in previous Civ games. And that's not exactly how it was historically, right? It was mostly like you were, back in the old days, but like several thousand years ago, like you didn't move far from where you were born. Like where you were born is kind of like mostly like where you stayed around. You didn't move around too much from that. So yeah, some of those things as far as like limiting your massive early game sprawl and expansion, I kind of like that, but we'll see how they implemented it in game and stuff like that. So they will also have different leaders, not just heads of state is what they said. Not just heads of state, but different world great influences in different areas like religion, science, and stuff like that. So yeah, be curious to see the whole list of people that they're going to have in the game.